Hi, I'm Max Brantley with the Arkansas Times on Friday, August 26th. You know, we've got an election coming in November. You've perhaps heard that. A lot of the news today and this week in Arkansas has been about voting in that election, specifically about whether some people might be wrongly deprived of the right to vote in that election. You've been following the story of Secretary of State Mark Martin, who sent out to county clerks badly flawed information about potential criminal records of registered voters. Some of them may have been thrown off the rolls improperly because of his action. The Arkansas Democratic Party yesterday released information it had finally received an FOI request from Martin's office that shows a lot of emails that indicates he not only didn't do much to discourage use of this bad information that he knew was bad, but urged people to use it quickly and as effectively as possible. Some of them did, some didn't. The county clerks objected. It's been a huge mess. News today also in the Rolling Stone from Greg Palast, an investigative reporter who uncovered the voter caging scandal in Florida by George Bush when his operatives tried to throw a lot of Democratic-leaning voters off the voter rolls there. He's back now with a Republican-engineered scheme called the cross-check system. Mark Martin of Arkansas participates. This hosts the computer system, in fact, by which states, in theory, compare voter rolls and make sure the same people don't vote in two states. The problem is the lists are badly flawed. The names don't match properly. It's really more or less lists of matching similar names. There are a lot of Jose Garcias in the world. In fact, the lists tend to be biased against black and Asian and other minority voters. We're participating in it. How many people have been thrown off in the past or could be thrown off again in the future improperly because of use of this system, engineered by a Kansas Republican, is not yet clear. We're trying to get answers to that. A funny note in the news today is that the Republicans who talk about voter fraud have a little bit of answering to do today. One of Donald Trump's top campaign aides apparently is improperly registered to vote in Florida. More on that to come too. And finally, Mark Martin's activities to discourage voting have yet to draw any kind of critical remarks from Asa Hutchinson, the governor, or the Attorney General Leslie Rutledge. But Mark Martin's office engineered the hiring of Leslie Rutledge's father, a longtime Republican retainer in political jobs, to run, guess what, the State Board of Election Commissioners. Feel better about the integrity of your election system in Arkansas that'll be administered in a nonpartisan way? I can't say that I do. Elsewhere, news from the federal court in Arkansas. A federal Freedom of Information Act suit was filed yesterday by Linda Ives, the mother of one of two boys killed 29 years ago on railroad tracks in Saline County, or perhaps they were killed there. Their bodies were found there. There's been many, many stories, books, movies, and theorizing about what was behind their deaths. It's been tied into things as high up as the CIA and drug running and gun running out of the Mena airport, presidents and governors and everybody involved. All of this conspiracy theory is laid out in the FOI lawsuit. I have a feeling this is a leading edge of something that's going to play a role yet again in a presidential election. Unlike the '92 election for Bill Clinton, this time it will be Hillary Clinton. Maybe she was the stewardess on that airline flight from Mena down to help the Iran-Contra deal. Who knows? I don't mean to joke about something like this. Great story in the Atlantic that's summarized on the Arkansas blog today. You ought to take a look. It's about how southern states, typically run by Republicans like Arkansas, are the most expensive place to go to public college for poor students. We don't give many breaks. The cost of college is rising. State support is falling because of the ideologies that the government shouldn't support higher education. It's more expensive to go to community college here, more expensive to go to public university here. That's one of the reasons why fewer poor people are going to college. It's one of the reasons why we have a low college graduation rate. Will anything be done about these facts in the 2016-17 legislative session? I kind of don't think so. Other political activities, news out of the New York State. Aliice Walton, identified in the news reporting as an Arkansas resident, I think it's more properly she's a resident of income tax-free Texas, has spent a whopping $500,000 as part of a $3 million effort to beat 4 black and Latino members of the New York legislature running for re-election this year around New York City. Why? Because they propose a program by which rich people can donate their tax dollars to private schools. We've heard this story before. Bad news in Little Rock, although it had to come, there was no way avoiding it. The Broadway Bridge, a key link between Little Rock and North Little Rock, apparently will close September 28th for about 6 months for replacement of that bridge. It's going to be gridlock central in downtown Little Rock during that period. Might be a good time to take a holiday. And finally, remember Lou Holtz? Who could forget the former Razorback football coach who has a penchant for sticking his foot in his mouth on political topics? His endorsement of Dixiecrat Jesse Helms got him ousted as Razorback football coach many years ago. Well, he recently was disinvited from being a guest speaker at a big celebration by a Catholic boys' high school in El Paso, Texas, after he made a series of really remarkably, I don't know, racist or unthinking remarks about immigrants. Said he doesn't want to cheer on any immigrants and they ought to be more like Americans and what have you. Well, this highly Latino influenced school, uninvited Holtz, El Paso is of course a bilingual city really with a strong Spanish culture there, and so he's not welcome there anymore. But Arkansas will welcome. He's going to be inducted into the Razorback Hall of Fame at a ceremony on the football weekend in Fayetteville next weekend. By the way, there are some ethnic groups that Holtz does approve of having separate celebrations. Look on his Facebook page and you'll find his annual remembrance of the St. Patrick's Day parade and festivities for the Irish community. They shouldn't assimilate, but the Latinos should. I'm Max Brantley. I'll be back next week.